Alright, so this is my second video on some Masonic symbolism. Today we're going to be discussing two things, the distress signal and the symbolism behind the checkerboard or chessboard. Alright. I'm just gonna briefly introduce you to a lot of stuff, so you're gonna do a lot of research on your own. So I'll point you out to the Wikipedia pages and give you some references. So I'm just gonna glaze over stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna read this line. O Lord, my God, is there no help for the widow's son? So this is something the Masons say in addition to throwing up their hands like this. You probably can't see me, but you basically got your hands up 90-degree angle. So you're basically doing what's be considered a field goal sign. So it's also the Ka symbol, the Egyptian Ka symbol. Okay. You can also look at this. I did two videos on Moses, or really one, and I mentioned Moses in the Jehovah's Witness video. So you can go back to my Moses Epiphany video and get some more information on Moses' story. But it's a part of the story when they were fighting. I can't pronounce the name, Amalekites or something like that. But go to Exodus chapter 17, verse 12. It's a part of that where Moses had to, every time he would hold up his arms, they would win. But when he put his arms down, something would happen. So he got tired, and his brother and the other guy had to hold up his arms. So go to Exodus chapter 17, verse 12. That's what he was throwing up. He was actually throwing up the Ka symbol, but the Masons label it as a distress signal. Okay? So just give you some information on what Ka is when it comes to Kemet, or the Greeks call it Egypt. So that's what KMT is, Kemet or Egypt, the Black Land. Alright, so it's basically parts of the soul. I broke out three of them. Ka is what we might be called the spirit. Ba is what we might call the mind, or the mental plane. So this is what we kind of call the soul, really in general, in the Western part. So this is just the soul itself, but these are all parts that make up the soul, because according to the Egyptians, Kemites. Ab is the heart. Okay, so you can go on Wikipedia and look up these parts of the Egyptian soul. You're gonna, and then look up the word Ak, A-K-H. It means, magically, it means the effective one, or the effective spirit. Like in the name Akhenaten. Akhenaten is means the effective spirit of Aten. Aten was like a sun god. So how you get Ak is when the Ka and the Ba is reunited after death. Just to bring it home, like you basically, you're made out of three things: mind, body, and soul. Your soul lives forever, can go up to the higher planes in the Polarity of life. I think I explained this in one of my other videos. Your spirit goes into the dreamland, or the ancestral. That's where the ancestors go. That's spirit. So your spirit, your body doesn't go anywhere. It stays. It becomes ashes and turns back into carbon ashes. But your spirit goes to that dream, that second level, and your soul goes on to go on and come back. So that's where your soul, or the mind. Because remember, we're inside the mind of God. There's only one mind. So we're made of elements, or elemental. El is a generic term for God, and the Canaanites called it, or really light or power. So elemental, the mental or the mind of El. So that's what we are. So this is what the mind is. So as you can see, basically the Ba, B-A, and the Ab, A-B, is basically reciprocated. So the heart is basically, I'll talk about this in another video, especially when I do a video on Yeshua or Jesus, and the symbolism of the balance of the heart, so on and so forth. So I just want to point out a couple of things. You can look up all these words, Ak, and so on and so forth. AKH, Ak, in Arabic means brother. ACH, Ak, in Hebrew means brother. I just want to point that out because the languages are so similar. So most of the stuff, I never really talk about the Quran or Arabic. I'm not really that well versed in it. But if you know Arabic, you'll know Hebrew or vice versa. So Ak and Ak pronounced the same thing. Just like Shalom is Hebrew, Salam is Arabic, so on and so forth. So you can get, if you know one, you're pretty much gonna know the other. So it brings me to another term called Merkabah. It's sometimes spelled with a V, Merkabah, so on and so forth. But it's basically in Hebrew, it's the chariot or the throne of God. You read about that with Elijah when he walked with God, so on and so forth. The reason why this is important because it contains the words Ka and Ba again. So I already defined those. Mer is kind of tricky. One guy defined it as light. The Egyptian word for pyramid is Mer. But in the terms of mermaid, the word mer means sea, water, and so on and so forth. I kind of want to lean towards the word water because I'm dealing with the Merkabah is inside your body. So it's basically a 3D Star of David. You know, you got a triangle pointing up, a triangle pointing down. So something called a tetrahedron is basically a three-dimensional star. It's three triangles, three-sided triangle with a base of a triangle. So if you can picture that. So the three-dimensional Star of David would be two of those, one pointed up and one pointed down. So that's formed with your 8 cells. If you go back to my Santa Claus video, I'll talk about your original 8 cells. Every 7 years, all 76 trillion cells in your body get new. They die off and you get new ones. All except the same 8 that you're born with. With those 8, the way they're formed, it forms a, it's going to be hard to see. But if you get this book right here, he discusses the Merkabah in detail. The Ancient Flower Life by Drunvalo Melchizedek. It's 2 volumes. So he's talking about the Merkabah, and you'll see how cell division is and how those 8 cells are lined up and it turns into a triangle. So if you want to learn more about sacred geometry, like I said, I'm just skimming over things. If you're going to have to do your due diligence, and I'm just making you aware of things, and then you can do your own research. But you can also still look up Merkabah on Wikipedia. So you guys got it easy. I have to go through books and everything and lectures. So that's pretty much what the cause. Like I said, that's the touchdown symbol that the referee throws up. So I'm going to segue with the referee having on black and white stripes. You're dealing with a chessboard. So usually what you need to know is all fraternities are under this Masonic banner. So the Fraternal Order of Police, that's why they have those checkerboards around their head, around the uniforms. You might see people hanging it from their rearview mirror. Every fraternity. They had the same rules for the police that they did for the Masons. They didn't accept minorities, lames, or this is including black people or women. You know, stuff changed, but you know, originally the Masons nor the police and so on and so forth didn't accept women, and then hence you have sororities. All right, the chessboard or checkerboard basically consists of 64 light and dark squares or blocks. I put light and dark because you might see a different color, but usually it's white and black. So you're dealing with light and darkness. Basically that two-tone color just symbolizes duality or polarity. Example would be male, female, Yakin, Boaz, the 2 pillars, electricity, magnetism, so on and so forth. The squares or blocks represent matter, material, the physical world, you know, the number 4. So basically what you're dealing with is organic molecules. Remember the word organic means carbon contains carbon, which is 666. So we're dealing with protein. The Greek word protein comes from it means leader or to stand in front. So we're dealing with DNA. So the building blocks of a material or physical body, which are proteins. So proteins are the building blocks of the body. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So those blocks, those 64, are actually the 64 possible codons. You're going to have to look up all this stuff because it's going to be hard. DNA is tricky to explain. I tried to write it out and give it to you in layman's terms. So I broke it down as best I could. Codon are 3 nucleotide sets. So it's basically 3 amino acids. There are 64 possible codons. So just go through all this stuff and Google some of this stuff in Wikipedia and get your own understanding. But I just want to point out that number 64 when it comes to the chessboard. Alright? So the 3 base sets must be employed to encode 20 standard amino acids. So basically maybe you heard of the essential amino acids that can be produced by the body. So 12 cans, you need 8 to get through the diet or food. There are more than 20. I think there's 23 amino acids, but these are the 20 that's needed to build the proteins that build your body. And a little sidebar, you may or may not heard of junk DNA. They say we only run off 2 strands of DNA. All right, and the scientists that or the so-called experts say the other 10 are basically junk DNA, and we don't need them. So why would God give them to us? Why would we be born with them? So it's not true. But I just want to show you that allegory is showed. You can go in the 1st and 2nd Kings book in the Bible, and you can talk about the lost tribes. Remember there are 12 tribes. 10 of them broke off. If you just Google this guy, Jeroboam, Jeroboam, and it should pull you up to where the exact verses. I didn't want to write down exact verses. The story is all sprinkled throughout the King's books. The only 2 that stayed, mainly Judah, was Judah and Benjamin, and they were ruled by Rehoboam. So you pronounce it Rehoboam or something like that. So just to point out another allegory that has to do with our DNA, about the 10 strands that's unused, that are deemed unnecessary by so-called experts. Okay. The next thing I want to bring you to is a divination tool called the I Ching. You may have heard of this, the I Ching, or the Book of Changes. I want to point this out too, also, because if you Google the Book of Changes, you'll understand what I'm going to talk about. There are 8 trigrams. So if you don't know what that is, just look up or Google it. We're dealing with 3 again. So I want to bring that back to the codons. Connected up here with the codons. The 3 base. So there's 3 amino acids. Alright? So the trigrams. 8 back to the 8 original cells. There are 64 possible pairs of hexagrams. When I tell you hex means 6. 6, sex, and hex all mean the same thing. Go look at some of my earlier videos. So, because remember, man was created on the 6th day. What's the 6th day? Well, the 6th element on the periodic table of elements. Because remember, we're elemental. We're made of elements, or the mind of El, or the mind of God. So the 6th day, or the 6th element, is carbon. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. So we've been hex, became a bad word, hex or cursed. That just means you had sex, or you was born with a 6. So that's what hexagram. I'm just reiterating, tying in all the videos. So you can do your own thing. So I'm thinking Book of Changes. We're dealing with the changes or the body and the changes in the body. I'm trying to tie all this into the chessboard. We have 64 blocks. Okay, 64 building blocks, which are the amino acids. 64 hexagrams. Okay, so just tying it all in. All right. And you'll read further about the trigrams, or what they're made of, and you'll see what they mean. Like the yang, the straight lines mean unbroken lines, I should say, are the creative yang. The broken lines are the receptive yang. So you're dealing with polarity again. So we're dealing with light and dark again. So it's tied in with the chessboard. But this is a divination. So the word divine is in it. So I haven't done a divination video on it, but like tarot cards, just flipping coins is a divination too. So eventually what you're going to do, nothing is chance. Everything is by luck or by chance, but everything is really done with energy. So you will be able to predict, basically fortune telling, but with divine, with God's inspiration. So that's what this is, a divination too. I don't want to go too far into that. Alright, I think I pretty much explained it to make it simple. If this is something you're interested in, it's kind of hard to explain DNA, so you just want to go and read through that and get your headache if you want to, or just meditate on it. Just want to point all this stuff out. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.